Okay, so now to begin coloring, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to color the dress section. And you can see in the reference photo at the sleeves is sheer. So I'm going to ignore that right now because it's going to be a different color than the rest of the dress. And what I'm going to do is create a mask. And that mask is going to basically select all of the outline of this blue dress so that I can only color in that area. I won't color outside of that area, which is really helpful because you can go outside the lines and it won't really draw there. It'll only draw on the dress. So to do that, I'm going to use this selection tool and I'm going to make sure it's on freehand. And I'm going to start by just outlining the dress. And what's good with Procreate is you can lift your pencil if you need to take a break, and you can start again and it will continue the line. And if it's not perfect, you can go in and adjust it later. But you always have to start where you stopped. So I can't like stop and then go this way. I have to keep going in the same direction I was. Okay, so that's all selected. Now what I can do is go to the brush tool. Okay, and when I click the brush tool, you see everything else has these lines that are diagonal. But the dress that I selected is just white. There's no diagonal lines. So I'm going to go to my color palette, and I want to do blue, but a bit brighter than what's in this photo. And the reason why I chose this reference photo is because it's a satin dress and it's a little tricky to color. So I wanted to give you some tips and tricks on how to do that. Okay, so I have my blue selected, and for my paintbrush, I want to start with airbrush, and I'm going to do the soft airbrush. And you can choose the size of it. So I'm going to do medium size, and I want it to be opaque all the way. And what I'm just going to do is color this all the way in. Okay, and you can see the dress is colored. Maybe the edges aren't perfect, but I can go in and fix that. Okay, that's the first step. Oh, and I didn't do it correctly either, because I did it on my drawing layer, which I didn't want to do. So I messed up. I can go back. So undo. Oh, I want to go forward to where it's selected, but I want to go in here and create a new layer. I want this layer 5 is where I want to color it. So layer 3 is, we're going to rename it, and this is going to be sketch. Okay, I just like to call them, I want to name my layers so that I don't get confused, and this will be dress. Okay, so now the dress is selected and I'm on my dress layer. Now I can color. So I should be on my airbrush and I can just do that again. Okay, so I want my line drawing on a different layer. Now I could go in and trim this up, so I could deselect it, and I want to get my eraser tool. See, this edge isn't perfect. I want to make it better. And I'm gonna try to do it carefully. And I can always go in and add more blue to fix it if it was wrong, if I erase too much. Okay, and you can't see what's happening right now. A way to make that more visible is I could go to this dress layer and on the N button, scroll up to the top one, which is multiply. And then you'll be able to see your sketches, your sketch lines. Okay, so then I can go in and continue to, let's make sure I'm on the right layer, dress, eraser, there it goes. Okay. And then I can also go in with my paintbrush, and let's see which paintbrush I'm on. I'm on that one. I want the hard airbrush, and I'm gonna make it small. It already is small. And I can go in, let's see, and just fill that in. So I'm adding color now to fix that edge so it's a little more accurate. Okay, good enough for now. And then the next one I can do, I'm gonna create a new layer. I'm gonna call this sleeves. So now I'll do this sheer part, and it's probably a really pale color, but let's just start with the freehand here. Oops. I rested my hand on here so it had the starting point there, and that's not what I want. So let's try to start this here. And now I have to color it while that's selected. So I'm going to select a color. So I'm going to select a color, and let's just make it, I don't know, it's a hard one to choose. I can make it a pale blue for now. And I need to go back, fix that. So go back button, my best friend. And I'm gonna go to the soft airbrush again. And you see the settings go back to whatever I last used, which is really helpful. You don't have to reset it every time. So I'm gonna color that in. Seems pretty dark, but perhaps I can adjust that later in highlighting and shadowing. Okay, and then I'm gonna deselect that and then select again. I wanna do this side. And paint. Okay, and I did go out of the lines here again, but I can fix it. Since I'm on just this layer, this one won't be affected. So I could come in and just erase this purple blue. Okay, and you can see all the lines are really weird. So I'm gonna do the hard airbrush again. It's small and it's opaque, which is just what I want. And I did mess this up here, so I want to erase this line. I think this is just the arm. It's kind of hard to tell. Maybe it goes, oh, there, that's where it goes. Okay. You see I can go back and forth between the tools and they're still set to the last thing I used. The color is the same, the size is the same. And again, I can't see my line drawing, so I can go back into the sleeves and change it to multiply. So multiply allows you to see the underlayer sketch. It's all the way at the bottom, so it's multiplying these layers so that you can see what's under. And that's how we're going to end up doing each layer. And if I go to layers, you'll see that the sleeves are in the same shape as the sleeves I just drew. So that's the only thing on that layer. Let's do a new layer and we'll do skin. And I'm gonna select, well, I could select a color now. Skin's kind of a hard color to get. It's more red than you think. So I'm in a kind of orangey color. And you can go more olive by adding a little more gray. Sometimes when you do that, it looks a little dull. So it's a little hard to get the right color you might want, but you can see how you can change the skin tones based off of how much gray or red is in that color. So I'm gonna go kind of just a little yellow. And I will go into the skin tone and add more color to it later. So I just need a base color. And I'm going to select and trace the whole body in skin. so when you have a color that you want to work with that's already on the page, you can select that color by going to this little square on the left hand side, and when you do it, see it selects the color. It brings out this circle, and I want the skin color selected so that I can touch this up. I'm going to go to my pencil and get my hard air brush again. So it's a little quick tool to get a color selection that you already have the color. You want to copy it. Okay. And I actually want to see the whites of the eyes, so I'm on the skin layer right now. I can actually remove that. I can shade it later. I'm just kind of cheating right now. I'm doing it early. Okay, so I think the only thing I missed are the shoes. I'll do that. And then I'll show you how to shade and texture this so that it doesn't look flat. We're going to give it a little more life.